the story of a working girl who is released from prison on Christmas Eve and goes in search of the pimp who broke her heart. The story goes a lot deeper than that. The film stars two transgender leads who came from the community that we were shooting around, and they gave us some stories about these girls who sometimes find themselves in conflict with the world around them. It's set at Christmas, but it's not just set at Christmas. It is a Christmas film. It's a film about friendship and broken hearts and some universal themes. People have responded to it because of some recent activity in the media with things like Caitlyn Jenner and Laverne Cox, and people have been very, very warm to our actors. I'd worked with Sean in the past. I worked with him on a film called Prince of Broadway. In the summer of 2013, we started having conversations about what kind of film he would want to make in the area, and he started to describe this particular intersection on Santa Monica Boulevard. As soon as he really decided that it was going to be about these particular women that he had met and stories that they had heard, he called us up and said, "Do you guys want to show up around Christmas time, abandon your families and come work for me?" And my wife, who was 7.5 months pregnant at the time, said, "I trust Sean that much. Go make this movie." When we announced at Sundance, it was something we just didn't want to tell people ahead of time because we were afraid it was going to be an empty house. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's one of the first questions an audience asks. What did you shoot on? And Sean just took out his iPhone and was like, "It's right here." And everybody was just in shock. So it became embraced after that because it looks so cinematic because there's a cinematic app that we use called Filmic Pro, which is like an $8 app you can buy in the App Store. We used prototype lenses from Moondog Labs, who were kind enough to donate those. They gave us anamorphic quality shots. We were able to use a Smoothie, which is a tiny little microphone-sized Steadicam. All of our tracking shots and our dolly shots were on a 10-speed bike. The intimacy of using the iPhone, I mean, we can get a lot closer than this, and it can be a lot more natural. And, whereas I know that camera's there, I wouldn't necessarily know an iPhone's there because we're so used to seeing it. Sean has done films about, adult film stars. He's done films about West African street hustlers. He's done films about Chinese delivery men. And, the whole thing is that when he tells these stories of people that we step over every day, marginalized people who we normally don't give two craps about, we don't think about in our day-to-day life. And he puts them in a universal situation and, makes their story as accessible as possible to, the rest of the planet. And they're not that far from accessible. They're always, they're just a heartbeat away from us. We just don't pay attention. And that's what I want people to talk about. I don't want people to talk about, well, it's a great, film about West Africans, or it's a great film about, transgender, sex workers. It's a film about people and their hearts and things like that. And that's, I think, what Magnolia shared with us in their vision in terms of marketing it. It was just, we really wanted people to see this good film about two friends who were somehow surviving heartbreak together. I prefer to tell stories that I know nothing about. And I teach students the same thing. It's like, go find the story that you know nothing about, because the only way to learn how to tell that story is to fully immerse yourself in that world. Fully experience what these people are experiencing, live their lives for a day as much as you can. Sean and I are two, straight white guys from Jersey. And so what do we know about West African street hustlers or Rwandans or transgender, sex workers or any of that stuff? And you have to just kind of put yourself in that world and really allow it to just kind of, immerse you.